Hi, Jonathan Hedvat here with Bert Hochfeld, former hedge fund manager. Bert, a lot of people, they hear about stock strategies. I don't know if it works for them. Or what do you think? How does someone pick a stock strategy that works for them? I mean, does that matter, or should everyone do the same thing because you're one of the most successful out there in the past? What can you share?
I think one of the things you have to really start with is understanding yourself, okay? If losing money on a particular day is going to bother you, if it's going to keep you up at night, then you better find strategies that produce less elevated but less volatile returns.
Okay, so let's use this as an example. I know a lot of people that do not like to lose money on a daily basis. Maybe even more than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5% is very nervous to see a fluctuation in the day. How would somebody even make that happen for themselves? Like, what would they do if they don't even like to see their stuff go down more than 5% a month or anything like that?
A lot of people use options, okay?
To lower their risk?
Sorry?
To make sure they don't lose much?
Yeah, a lot of people would say, I'll buy 1,000 shares of XYZ and buy 1,000 puts.
Okay, so if it goes down, they don't lose, they make a little bit of money back, but it doesn't cost that much for that protection.
It depends on how volatile, but you know, yeah, I mean, that's what I see the most of and have seen the most of. I mentioned paired trades, okay? Paired trades are, well, they're hard basically because the number of natural pairs in the universe is not that great, but a lot of people focus on market neutral strategies simply because they don't want the volatility.
What do you suggest for people that want to get a good return? They don't want to do that much research and they don't have time for it. What should they do?
Well, okay, I mean, do you go to a doctor?
I go to a doctor. Occasionally I should go more, but yeah, I do.
Okay. You go to a doctor, you go to an investment professional. I don't mean a broker, I'm not talking about a broker, I mean you talk somebody who's that's what they do, they specialize in investments, okay?
Well, what?
If you don't want to spend the time and energy doing some of the things I've talked about, don't pretend that you're gonna be able to achieve differentiated results.
Differentiated results meaning that you'll do better than an index fund.
It's not going to happen.
So at a minimum, if somebody bought some stock market index funds, like ETFs like SPY and DIA, QQQ for the NASDAQ, and that's it, a third of their money in each, held there for 20 years, is that the least effort they could do to slowly grow their money?
Yes, I mean, that's what you'd have to do, is some kind of index fund, depending upon your calls with regards to the economy.
Okay.
I mean,
you're kind of betting on the largest companies in America to keep growing. Because the S&P, right, it is weighted towards Facebook and Apple and Google and Microsoft and Amazon.
It is those are the largest market cap companies today.
So 40% of your S&P investment might go to these companies, it seems.
Yes.
So you're betting on these big tech guys, everyone. If you go with the S&P, you're betting on a big American consumer technology, basically. It seems these
Well,
days.
I mean, I think Amazon, the FANG stocks, basically. Yeah. Facebook, Amazon, Alphabet, Netflix, and Google.
Yes. Maybe Microsoft, too, is pretty big. It's $700-800 billion company now.
Yeah.
So, what are other strategies? Like you said, you had a friend that he loved the action of trading So that works for some people. How do people that like to buy, get in, get out? What do they do? I mean, how do they operate?
Alex basically will trade anything. It goes up 15-20%. You has to be told, no, I don't want to trade it. I don't have any interest in trading it. Calm down, okay? But his predilection is that if it went up 15%, it could go down 15%, and I want to get the heck out.
All right.
The strategy that I like the best, for me, is trading around core positions.
Meaning,
Okay. So in other words, when Alteryx was levitating almost for a few days. Yes, that's levitating. I advised those people who were interested in that kind of thing that's what it was doing, levitating, and they needed to trim the size of their holding in it.
mm-hmm.
Some did, some didn't. I had one guy who said, "Are the prospects any worse?" I said, "No. Prospects are the same." I don't know why the stock went up. It just decided for reasons that nobody knows to go up 20% in 3 days. I don't know why it did. Nobody else does. So
Then an analyst put his 2 cents in and it dropped 10-15%. So that was different.
But that's what I like to do, is
Sure,
trade around
sure.
a core position.
So if something's getting ahead of itself, in your opinion, you can get out of a portion of it, and maybe you could buy a little bit more when it drops a little bit because you believe in the long-term prospects.
That's exactly what I want to try to do. Yeah. And if I miss, heck, I missed in the last year, very painful. Horton Works and less painful, Shopify and Square.
And there was one with an A, something like that.
What?
It told me about
Arista.
Arista.
Please, let's not. We don't need to dwell on Arista.
Sometimes
I actually bought Arista at $62 a share, and you can look it up. It's over $290 a share.
So
I thought I had done marvelously when I got rid of the last of it at $115.
So sometimes you get rid of shares because you think it got ahead of itself, and they continue to go up and levitate. And you can't win them all. But Bert told me that investing is a batting average, and your accuracy overall is more important than hitting a few home runs.
But if you mention Arista again, I will take serious punitive action.
Yeah.
Do not mention Arista to me.
What about some people that they're pessimistic? They always want to short. Can that work? You got that guy Jim Chanos. He seems to be the king of shorting, and Andrew's left. Talks on Twitter a lot about shorting stocks. I mean, what can a certain strategy not work, or a certain strategy is very hard to achieve?
Well, there's a huge difference between Jim Chanos, who's a highly regarded
short seller,
deeply analytical methodology. I mean, the man wants to figure out how many times a day the CEO uses the restroom. He's that kind of investor. And Andrew left, who lies.
we see who.
I don't. Jim Chanos. Yeah, Jim Chanos is likely to produce decent returns over the years.
If somebody doesn't know a certain strategy that's going to work for them, they're open. Are there certain strategies that have more likelihood of succeeding than others?
Really has to do with your personality, okay?
It's a very open person that's flexible. What would they do?
Well, no. Okay.
A very
I'm a nerd, okay? I love finding out about different things, okay? And I happen to have the benefit or the demerit of a lot of financial training. That's me. I don't know anything about consumer stuff or pop culture, so I have to have a certain strategy because anything else would really be to my detriment.
So you're saying you're knowing all sectors and all companies, large and small, is very difficult to achieve. Knowing everything.
Well, unless you're
Artificial intelligence.
a cockeyed genius like Jim Cramer.
That's okay.
I mean, honestly, nobody knows everything about the expression a mile wide and an eighth of an inch deep.
Sometimes I think I'm that way.
I mean,
Probably not that good.
I personally can't bring myself to want to invest in something unless I can figure out how it would be that I would sell the product to enterprise technology buyer. If I can't figure that out, I don't want to. Then I can't deal with it. But
No.
you may not feel the same way.
Yeah, I'm a very scatterbrained person that likes to meet people and new connections in my brain. I make connections. I'd like to think that I can go invest in different categories, but I have to admit that it's impossible that I'll know enterprise technology like you do. So I think my portfolio has a lot more names than most people, but it makes me sleep at night better because I know that I don't know that much about everything, so I'm forced to touch a lot of names.
As I said, it's really a matter of who you are, knowing yourself. If you are honest with yourself, you can figure out what's the best strategy for you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bert. Appreciate it.